We've seen examples with how we can use methods to do things like adding things to a number or adding 5 to a number with double clicks and so on. And we're going to do something similar in this video here. But we're going to change, once we get it to work with the methods, then we're going to change them into something called computed. And I'll show you what the difference are and why it can be smarter to use computed compared to methods and so on. We'll also be using computed going forward in different projects, both in the next one and the next one and so on and so on. So you'll definitely get more of these. But I just cleaned out my app here and the index page. So right now I'm just going to need an age variable, and I'm going to need the A to store some data in, and I'm going to need a value of B to store some data in. So this is my starting point, right? A, age 42 and 0, 0. In my HTML, I'm just going to do something similar to what we did before. I'm going to create a button, so once I click it, I'm going to add a number to it. So once I click it, I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. So do that if you remember it. But if you don't, it's V-on and click, clock. And then we use the A value because we already declared that one. And then we can just go add to A. Yep, there we go. And we need one for B as well. So copy paste this here, paste this in here, boom, there we go. And then we make a paragraph to show that we actually did something. Add it to A, and then interpolations with the A button. And copy paste this and do the same for the B value, right? So B, let's click save and let's see if this works. So now we go to a browser and we can click A, and then it adds one and adds, oh, I forgot to change something here. So whoopsie daisy. So remember to change the A to B up here, and let's save, refresh, and then boom, boom. Yeah, I did it more. Just make sure that you write B in the places where B should be. Right, so this is standard methods call, but I also want to add a little bit more to it. I want to actually, once I click my A or B, I want it to add to the total age of whatever, right? So in my HTML, I am also going to add a little bit more here. So let's make another paragraph, and let's say age added with A, and that will equal something, right? So we're going to create a method here that actually puts them together, and I'm going to call this add to A and make it a function here. So this is the method I'm going to create in a while. So let's just copy paste this, or if you're really lazy and you don't want to do it later, and click save, of course. Go to your app, and in my app I'm going to create a method here, and it was called add to A, like so, and it was a function, doesn't take any parameters, and in this one we're just going to take the value of whatever we clicked. So, and then add this to the age of the current status, right? So we're going to, like we did before, but we're going to return now. And we're going to return this A, because that's what we clicked, the value from this one, and we're going to plus it to this age. So this age, once this is updated, this will be the new age, and so on and on, right? So let's do this, oops, and let's click save, and let's see if the method to A works. So if I click B, it just goes here, right? If I click A, it adds both here and here. So that's cool. So let's just copy this and get this to add to B as well. So let's B and B there, still same with age, that's cool. And then we copy this and we add it to B and add to B. So let's try again. Save, refresh. So boof, boof, boof. Now you can see it adds to B and adds to A, right? Two different values. What I'm going to show you now is in my app here, I'm going to create a console log for each of these. So console log, and we're just going to print the text here, add to A. I'm just going to finish this. I'm copying this console log here, putting it down here, add to B, like so. And refresh. So over here, check now. So this, I click A, right? It says add to A and add to B. So it actually does both. That's weird. What about this one? So it's the same here. It goes through both A and B. For each time I click a method over here, it runs both of them. So that's not optimal, right? Because we kind of only want it to be this one, to be going like add to A, then you should only add to A, right? But because we're using methods, they're just every time you re-render your HTML, and all the methods here will fire. So it doesn't matter if the data is the same, if nothing changed for this one down here, the B didn't change, it's still, if we click here, B is still 0, so this will still be 42, right? There's no change, but it will still fire. That means it's going to rerun it each time that we actually click this button. The thing with what we call computed in here, like method, is we can kind of make our code a little bit better so it doesn't have to fire each time. So make sure you now find where you start your methods, where you end them, and you do a separation here, a comma, and then you do a computed like this. They are very similar to methods, but they have a big difference compared to the other one. So remember what happened here, right? So both fire, right? No matter if I click A or B. I'm gonna take this code we just did, copy this, or cut it, and paste it into my computed here. So my method is now empty, and computed here is now populated with the previous method I had, right? Save, and in my HTML I just need to remove my 2 parentheses here on the add to B for this to work. But if I go back now and I click A, it says only add to A, so it doesn't re-fire or reinitialize the method of B for adding to this unless something happens. So what it actually does with this computer, it actually checks, it has dependencies. So once we click add to A compared to when it was in a method, if I click B, it would just fire A and then go B and then update B, right? But now in computed, it's going to check if the variables here, B, or is actually changed. So, ooh, is this the same or is it changed? If it's the same, don't run me. That's why A won't run. It's caching the previous version it had. So if this was 6 now, because it's 6 over here, so this is equal to 6 right now, and I click B and this still is equal to 6, well, it's being cached, so the system already knows, well, I don't need to rerun this because it's the same. So it's actually saving itself some computer power, I guess, to not run this. And it only runs B because this is where the dependency, where our value of B has been changed. So this is kind of a good thing, a really good thing, so you don't have to rerun a lot of methods if you don't really need to. Methods are great, of course, when you need them, but if you're able to put them in computed, for example, like this, then you should. What we're going to do in some lessons ahead is, for example, we're going to sort names. So if we had some sort of array or an object with names, we are going to use the computer down here to sort through our array of data, our names, and actually do all the logic down here, or expressions or whatever we want. So expressions like plussing, like we did with the adding thing before, because we're only allowed to do one expression in here, like this expression here. We can only do this once, but in here we can do it as many times. So we can slice, we can join, we can revert, we can reverse, not revert, and sort and so on. But that's really the big difference between computed, but we'll get back to this in future video as well. But now you know there's a difference between computed and methods.